Hi there. Yes, today's reading is really challenging. It may not seem so on the surface, but it is a challenge to anybody, especially to people who are supposed to show a good example. You'll see what I mean shortly. Today's reading, there were a couple of good ones, but I chose this one by Ovid, way back in history. Everything comes gradually and at its appointed hour. Everything comes gradually and at its appointed hour. How about that? Science of Mind magazine, it's really worth subscribing to. There's a lot of good stuff in it. I picked the daily guides and I mostly stick to them, not 100%, but mostly stick to them because they're relatively short readings. Some of the other articles are good. Some of them are like one full page, which is a lot. It's small print. Others are 2, 3, 4, 5 pages sometimes, which is obviously way too long. I sometimes occasionally go in and just synthesize a longer article, but by and large, I stick to the daily guides. But I do encourage people, look it up, Science of Mind magazine. If you just Google that, it will bring you to it. You can actually get a digital subscription or a paper subscription, or like I do, get both. I read the digital and my wife reads the paper version, which she prefers. And she can read it in bed at night before she goes to sleep. She reads the one for the next day, actually. So pretty good idea. So it's a good magazine. But as I said, I stick to the daily guides mainly because they're shorter, but also there's usually a theme that runs through the whole month and it's kind of all fits together. So, but sometimes, as you know, I don't like the readings. And if I don't like them and I don't think they're worthwhile, I don't read them. So there you are then. This one, as I said, it's difficult. If you really, really take this to heart, it's not easy. And you'll know when I read the title, Teach by Living. Teach by Living. The first quote, of course, all month it's Audre Lorde, who says, "For us all, it is necessary to teach by living and speaking those truths which we believe and which we know beyond understanding." Practice what you preach is another way of putting it. And of course, Ernest Holmes reminds us that the power of the universe is flowing through us, and he encourages us to feel it and to know it and then to act upon that. And then he reminds us that there's an infinite mind running all things. And just as that is the case, so our life is controlled by our thinking and, of course, our feeling. And he says, if we're ignorant of this, then it keeps us in bondage. But the opposite's true. Knowledge will free us. So try to make it a little bit different, not just read the same reading every day, Oh, and I still have not figured out why sometimes when I press my mouse and I'm really just trying to scroll, it zooms the whole thing and fills the whole screen, and it's a pretty big screen actually. Not that matters. To teach by living is a big assignment, is what Rev Christie says. What does my life teach you? What does your life teach those who witness it? She says, I appreciate that Audre Lorde says it's necessary to teach both by living and speaking those truths that we believe. And we can't just speak the truths. The knowing beyond understanding demands that we live by them. She says, I teach that there is only one of us, that we're all made of God's substance, however you wish to express that we're all made of love. Therefore, I must live as if every person in the world is my brother or sister. I mustn't judge them, other them, or condemn them. Why? Because they and I are one in spirit. If I see they need healing, I need healing. If I see they need to correct a wrong idea, I need correction. If I see they need to experience the consequences of their own thinking, I must know that this will happen following spiritual law. How does your living reflect your beliefs? Now, she's not saying here that, if I can open that up. She's not saying here that people should be allowed to get away with everything or anything. No, she's saying that we don't sit in judgment on people. We do make decisions, and we have discernments that say what that person's doing doesn't benefit society, and society has a right to separate them out from the rest of us. In other words, put them in prison. But what it's saying is that we don't go out with the express idea of judging people. Yes, we observe. Yes, we correct. But we're not in the position of judging. We are in the position of discerning, and we can discern good from bad. And it is our job to actually correct it if we're in a position to do so. But the main message here is that we live by example. This is the whole main message, that we live by example. And then the secondary message under that is that we're all connected, and that what we put into the universal subjective and the group human subjective mind does impact the whole of everything. So we have to be careful what we say, what we think, and what we feel, because we're impacting things. But the real main message is practice what you preach. Practice what you preach. You know, if you don't believe it's right to do something, then don't do it. If you say something should be done, then do it. It's really, it's simple, but is it easy? No. We all slip into judgment. We all slip into not always living by example. But our goal as spiritual seekers is to live by example, and that's our goal. Are we all perfect at it? No, not by any means, but that is our goal. And eventually some people reach that point where they're able to do it all the time. But there are very, very few and far between. But should we strive for it? Yes. I do my best to teach by living as love. This is her affirmation. I do my best to teach by living as love. And I don't think it gets much better than that. So, hey, there was a great class this morning on the mycelium of mind. It's probably too late to join the class, although I don't know. There was a really great discussion. It's only 4 classes, so if you've missed one, you've missed 25% of it. But the book is still available, and if you live in the area relatively close to Creative Life Spiritual Center, you can actually buy the book in our bookstore, and it's signed by the author. You'll pay the same price that you would pay online. It's signed by the author. So if you want that, and you get a lot out of the book. You get more out of the class, but you will get a lot out of the book. And then pretty soon I'm going to start promoting world religions. If you want to know more about a lot of the religions around the world, then this class is starting on April 16, and it will last for 8 weeks. And it will be recorded in case you miss any parts of it. And it will start back where human beings began, back in the Neolithic, in the Paleolithic, and the Old Stone Age. And some of those religions from back then are still around today, believe it or not. So, but we will cover all the world major religions, and we'll cover some more. Please, this is my prayer today. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Now blow it out. And just go and have a really wonderful rest of the day. And I will see you tomorrow. My co-Reverend Lisa will see you tomorrow. And Daniel Johnson will sometime during the day today have her midweek meditation. So lots of stuff for you there. So until next time, namaste.